Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you had a wonderful weekend and got some fun things for you to think about today and some maybe generate some business and then also make your practice a little bit more efficient. So the first thing we talk about, as always, is look at those 5-minute money makers. They're designed to make you a smarter, better advisor and to make you more money. So this one is, first, this is not just about your clients, it's about getting new clients. And what we're talking about here is contacting people regularly for non-financial reasons. Let me get some answers to this. Why is it so important to contact people for non-financial reasons? Because most advisors, when do they contact their clients? Yeah, show you that you care, so they care more than just about the money. Trust, no sales. Yeah, so what they found, there's been a lot of research on this, and they found that not satisfied clients, but loyal clients on average are contacted 24 times a year for non-financial reasons by their advisor. Now there's a big difference between loyal and satisfied. Loyal clients say they'll never ever leave their advisor, and they average about 12 referrals a year. So how many of your clients are giving you 12 referrals a year? So that means that you have not loyal clients, but you have satisfied clients. And they said the problem with satisfied clients is we get kind of hoodwinked. We think satisfied clients are going to stay with us. No, satisfied clients stay with you until what? Yeah, they find something better, Dave. They stay with you till they find something better. Yeah, everybody's getting it now. That's right, Mark. So it makes sense to have in your calendar, and Missy will validate this. Even the year I was making $1 million in my when I was practicing, I still wrote 200 handwritten cards per month. So 50 every single week, and they were for birthdays. They were for the 4th of July. I was constantly sending out notes, and if I can afford making $1 million a year, if I can afford the time to write 200 handwritten notes, do you think anybody on this call can tell me they don't have time to do it? And I want everybody to answer this. Because if you don't have time to do this, guess what? Yeah, that's what I did. I did it watching TV. So if you don't have time, this call is about better time management. So 5Q tape breakdown was catching something that the advisor did twice in 30 seconds. And do you think when we catch these things, do you think that you are not doing the things that we catch people doing on 5Q tape breakdowns doing? Do you think that you're immune to them and you're not doing those things? So guys, please listen to the 5Q tape breakdowns. Use it as your 15-minute drill. Do those things because they're going to make you better. Okay. So why did I want to talk about this? Oh yes, I want to talk about and this was brought to my attention by 2 different advisors in the last month that I thought I should talk about it. And I'm always loath to talk about it. I hate talking about it because it looks like I'm pumping myself up, or it looks like I'm trying to make myself look better. So I don't like talking about this, but both guys have had great success with it, so I'm going to bite the bullet and do it anyways. See under presentations, there's follow-up systems, and it says follow-up mini system, follow-up book mini system. I want to talk about that today. So the follow-up book mini system, you have the manual, and it's for who's on my side, which you would have gotten when you first came on board. An explanation of how you do it, and then the order form. So in the manual, let's take a look at the manual. So we're talking about this book that I wrote, and then you all should have gotten this letter endorsing you. So let me ask you a question. Do you think it's better to be an author? I think we talked about this last week or the previous week. Is it better to be an author or endorsed by an author? Wade's got it right. Chris has got it right. Tom's got it right. Dave? Yeah, everybody's got everybody's got it right. Yeah, it's way better to be endorsed. Tom got it wrong. Tom, how many authors are there right now? Gazillions. So, and Jerry got it wrong too. And what are authors saying? Hey, look at me. Ain't I smart? Look at me. Ain't I smart? Look at me. Ain't I smart? And yeah, and I agree, Nicholas. They're all saying the same thing too. Why is being endorsed by an author better than being the author? Third party. Does that author have any as an author and you're a financial advisor, do you have a vested interest in showing how smart you are? Do you have a vested interest in that? Yeah. Thinking, if I show them how smart I am, then move the money to us. Does an author have any perceived benefit from endorsing you? No. So why is that better? That's third party. So it's way better it's way better to be endorsed. So when you came on board, I gave you a letter of endorsement, which I asked you to then go ahead and keep the original, and then you make a bunch of copies of it. Okay? So what you're going to do when you send out this with this system is you're going to make a copy of that, fold it in half, and stick it inside the book. So when people get it, what does it say about you? You've been endorsed by this author. Okay? So if you don't have that, Trisha's going to hate me, but guys, it drives us bananas when we send you tools and you lose them. So try to keep hold of these tools, okay? But if you don't have them, go ahead and contact her and we'll get you a new one, and then make copies of it, and then that's what you're going to put in the book. So it says here, what you want to do is, how many people will read a full book that you send them? Most or not very many? Not many. So what you're going to do is say, put a little a piece of paper in there that says, "Hey, Bob, it was great seeing you." So you can change this whatever you want. Haven't talked to you for a while. It's a great seeing you. Hey, I thought about you when I saw this book. Whatever you want to put here, but it's a little like half sheet of paper. I just received this easy read. I've made a couple of notes on topics you might find interesting. We did have pages 96 to 98, and I've changed that because of where we are right now in the economy and everything, to pages 120 to 129, and we're going to look at those in a second. Then what you do, so you stick this little note here. You put the endorsement letter in the front cover of the book, underneath the front cover, and then you stick this almost like a bookmarker, this right here at pages 120 through 129. Most people won't read a full book, but if you put this in there and the pages are easily read, how many people will read these 9 pages, do you think? Yeah, a lot more people are going to read those 9 pages, okay? Maybe not all, but most. Yep, most. So then you're going to mail it to them, and then you're going to do a follow-up phone call. But here's the pages. This is the actual pictures of the pages. So what kind of market are we in? It's a risk that's a lot more real than most advisors care to admit. Why? They just don't have any experience with today's problems. Consider this. Most advisors are in their late 40s or early 50s. If we just take age 50 as a reasonable age, a typical advisor was born around 1960. Assuming they graduated college, they entered the workforce around 1982. What were all the markets like for the next 18 years? From 1982 for the next 18 years. What were they like, guys? The best bull market in history. Not good. Look at this compared to all the other bull markets. What does this look like compared to all the other bull markets? This is unbelievably great. Okay? So how did most people in this industry, what did they experience when they got into the industry? No pain. Okay? So from 1982 to 2000, the market was straight up, and people were making a lot of money in early stock, in nearly every stock or mutual fund they were invested in. Sure, there were occasional dips in performance, but you simply sat tight and did nothing, and you recovered and continued to grow your money. What was the best financial advice at the time? Buy stocks, hold them through downturns. You can't go wrong. And for most advisors, that's the bulk of their experience. They still generally stick to that advice. But look at the market immediately preceding 1982, the 17-year period between 1965 and 1981. The cumulative return was only 0.83. So, guys, the cumulative return, not 0.83 per year, but the total during those 17 years was 0.83. The graph shows that those kinds of markets are not anomalies. They happen and they last a long time. So if you had to guess what kind of market we are in now, would you say we're in a bull market like that in the 80s or 90s? You'd think we're closer to the uncertain markets in the 70s. It's an entirely different time, an entirely different set of problems. It requires completely different ideas, different advice, especially if you're retiring or retired. The problem is that if your savings are predominantly in equities and you rely on those savings to draw a paycheck, a market like we've seen in the past decade doesn't allow you to draw 4% a year. Ideally, you'd have to withdraw a cumulative of 40% from 2000 through 2009, 4% for the 10 years. The graph shows that the cumulative return during that entire decade was only 5.82. Cumulative, guys, cumulative. So you only get 5.82 for the entire decade, but if you're pulling out 40%, where are you right now? Backwards. Isn't it? It isn't that we aren't, there aren't any years in which you could withdraw 4%, just that there are too many years where you can't, and you end up drawing from principal, and by doing so, you absolutely run a risk of running out of money the longer you live. For many people who retired in the early 2000s, the reality of that happening is beginning to sink in. It's why 61% of them responded that they fear outliving their assets more than they fear dying. So guys, first of all, so far, do I have almost every person who's retired, do I have their attention with this? Got 3 yeses, 10 yeses, keep going. More. Yeah, everybody's saying yes. Okay, so go to the next page. What's the solution? There's an obvious fix for all this. Don't take the money in the down years, or at least take less. But that's really not an option for the majority of people. They need a paycheck to live. They can't afford to take 50% pay cut for a couple of years while their accounts recover. Or worse, go without income at all for that period of time. Bonds don't work because inflation eventually overwhelms an income that doesn't grow. And a stock-heavy portfolio sprinkled with bonds, it doesn't work because you need income each year and every year. Even years when the market is down. So what can you do? An idea emerged from the country's leading business schools as a modified form of asset laddering. The idea was asset laddering was something that had been around for a long time. Many of us are familiar with laddering bonds or CDs. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of laddering, but essentially laddering was an attempt to increase the yield, fixed rate, blah, blah, blah. It helped, but it didn't really solve those 2 big problems inherent to bonds. First, things like healthcare and food tend to rise a lot faster than the government's official inflation rate. So the yield, do you think most people agree with that? Second, there are still the problem that the amount of money you need to allocate to bonds to start with. Remember, our rather modest income of $40,000, it would require 800,000 bonds in a 5% interest rate environment. Are we in a 5% interest rate environment? How much bonds are you going to need to give you 40 grand a year? So there came the evolution of an idea. But in 1997, a group of graduate students working in the MBA at the University of San Francisco began looking at to modify laddering. The research resulted in a lengthy white paper called Asset Dedication. The concept that emerged was called bond bridging. It introduced 2 novel ideas. First idea was to add equities to the laddering equation. Before this, it assumed equities couldn't be laddered because the returns are uncertain and unreliable. There would be gains, but there could also be losses. The second idea was to mix fixed investments, some bonds, some not bonds, could be laddered and spent down to zero as an income bridge to the growth and equity side of the portfolio. It's not my intention to go into math or academic theory behind bond bridging. Introducing equities in the ladder and using modified investments that included bonds seemed to solve the problem, and spending the fixed portion portfolio to zero substantially reduced the initial investment someone had to make into fixed investments. Too bad the paper came out in the late 90s. The stock market was booming and not many people outside academia took notice, but could it work? The debate inside the halls of the country leading the business schools broke out about bond bridging, and when the dust settled, the consensus was that bond bridging would work, but it might not be necessary. Let me explain. Bond bridging advocates argued that you could withdraw more money as a result of structuring your portfolio this way. And can I ask you guys a question? How many advisors, if we said describe what bond bridging is, would know what that is? So again, the nice thing about them reading this is what we're doing is what? Hurting their current relationship with their advisor. Because if they call them and say, I want to do bond bridging, and the guy says, I don't know what that is, guess what that's going to do to their relationship? So it's important to note that no one came out and said you shouldn't do this. All they said was it might not be necessary. It's true in the first 5 years of income would be virtually guaranteed, and that the bridge, and that would bridge someone to growth side of the portfolio, which would presumably have grown those 4 years or 5 years. Have equities on the back side of the ladder is a good idea, since if it were down years, the account would have time to recover, but 5 years may not be enough to recover. Most times it will be, but there are certain areas where it won't. People will be lulled into a false sense of security, blah, blah, blah. Second, some of the parts would be more than the whole. If, for example, you laddered 50% of your assets in income and the remaining in growth, the performance of the portfolio would be the same as a 50-50 balanced portfolio. The income you would generate couldn't be more than the income that the 50-50 portfolio would generate. It's ultimately unnecessary to do this. Remember, this is the late 90s when the stock market was booming and a lot of financial professionals weren't looking for a solution that didn't exist. At the time, no one ever imagined there would be a year, much less years, when you couldn't take 4% from any kind of stock portfolio. The naysayers are right and they were wrong. I'll explain in a minute, but for now, it's only important to note that while no reasons emerged not to do this, it's clear the idea could be improved. And then we talk about the Cadillac and retirement programs, and it goes through an explanation of the sale. So most of you said that most advisors wouldn't know what the bridge is. So how many of them are going to know what the sale is? So the client says, holy crap, this is a problem. I need to talk to my guy. I need bond bridging. And the guy says, I don't know what that is. Okay, well then give me the sale. What's their guy going to say? So that's strike two. So do you see the power of doing this? First of all, the first part about when people were born, the graph paints, a picture paints 1,000 words. Do you see how this portion of the book could certainly grab their attention for you? So, and then it goes and endorses the sale plan, which only you guys have. So is the sale really necessary? Green Project didn't have any critics. Remember, many financial professionals like to point out that it might not be necessary. If you don't have to change any of your investments, why can't you take the same $15,000 for the 50 portfolio? Every advisor would recommend. Remember, I know the naysayers are right and wrong. They were right in the sense that the sum of the parts isn't necessary more than the whole. In hindsight, they might have been able to draw $15,000 per year from a 50/50 portfolio, but only in hindsight. They would have never recommended you start the first couple of years that way, and still blah, blah, blah. So it goes through and explains why that's the case. So then you mail it, and you will have a high likelihood that they'll read those 9 pages. So a lot of things are working here. In fact, there's 6 principles of influence, and there's 3 that are working here. Number 1 is reciprocation. Why would sending this book give you reciprocation? Because they're going to find out what? You gave them a book, they found valuable, and they feel like they owe you. If you don't know what the sale is, you should make an appointment with Jeff. So call Tricia and get on Jeff's calendar, and he'll walk you through what the sale is. Okay? It's software that we have on our website. So it gives you reciprocation. It gives you scarcity. Why does it give you scarcity? Who else has the sale? Who else knows about bridging? If you know about bridging, no one has the sale. So that's scarcity. Is that scarcity if you're the only one that has it? Yes, that's the definition of scarcity. And the last thing is authority. Why does this system give you authority? What's in behind the front cover? Yeah, third-party endorsement. And then it gives you the 4th one, which is consensus. So it gives you consensus because you think the same way as the book author thinks. And how many people you think will agree with what we say in that book or in those 9 pages? A lot or not very many? So that gives it. So we got 4 of the 6 principles of influence in this system. Does that make sense? So this is something, and again, I hate doing that, but Missy, how much does this book cost for them to buy? If you're there, Tricia.
It's like $79. I think it's $79 for 20 books. So whatever that, $4 a book.
$4 a book. So guys, I make no money on that, or I think I make a dime because it wouldn't let me not make money, so I make a dime or something on that. So I'm not making money on that. So it's basically at cost to get to you to use. So it's not, and I'm not pumping up my book because I'm trying to make money off of it. It's another selling tool for you to have. So give me some ideas, guys. Who could you use this book with? This system with? Prospects, yep. People that have stalled, your warm list, eye to eye, before your second appointment when you're doing marketing, all sorts of people you can use this with, right? So it's costing you $4. So I thought a lot of you, unfortunately, we have so many tools that you forget the tools that you have. So 2 guys in the last month have had great success with this, so I thought I'd go ahead and remind, if you'd forgotten about this, remind you that this is a good tool to use. But do change from 96, 98 to the pages 120 through 129. Make sense? Cool. And then you mail it, and then you follow up with a phone call. So now we'll get into our next topic, which is this. Successful people versus unsuccessful people. Successful people give other people credit for their failures. Unsuccessful people take all the credit for their victories. What does that mean? Give other people credit for their failures. versus take all the credit for their victories. So it's basically saying that, you know what, successful people, if I'm with somebody and there's been a screw up, who's going to say it's my screw up? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to say, you know what, that wasn't Bob's screw up, that was my screw up. But then unsuccessful people, if we did something well, I'd make everybody know I did this, Bob didn't do this, I did this, Bob didn't do this. So another way to say this is successful people are humble, unsuccessful people are what? Has anybody read the book Takers versus Makers? Takers versus Makers? Well, there's a lot of research that have been done, and they said companies fail when they have too many takers versus makers. Makers make things happen. Takers take things from everybody. Makers help people. Takers only use help but never give it back. So judge yourself on this. Would you actually step in and say that was my fault, even if it wasn't your fault, to help somebody else save credit or save face? And in fact, somebody actually, who said that, said falling on the sword. We do that here with falling on the sword. Chris, awesome job. You recognize we do that with falling on the sword. You're exactly right. Next thing, accept responsibility for their failures. Blame others for their failures. So Jeff, can you get in here?
Yeah, I'm here.
When you hear a tape review, especially like of a seminar or eye-to-eye, a lot of advisors will premise the call saying, hey, I know I could have done things better, but, you know, and then they start listing off all the reasons why it didn't work. Am I right or wrong?
Yep, no, you're right. Yep, they
so
say,
why do they say, you know, I know this is probably my fault, but then they spend, so how long did it take for me to say that? Probably my fault.
2 seconds.
And then they spend a minute listing all the problems that in their mind it was really the cause for it. Guys,
right.
when we fail, where does that failure end up? Or for successful people, where should that failure end up? On us. When I went from making 50 grand to 350 and 357, the difference that year was it was the first year I took responsibility for every single failure. And we take every single responsibility for every single failure. See, there's only one thing we can be in control of, and guess what that is? Am I in control of interest rates? Am I in control of products? Am I in control of the economy? Am I in control of the prospects? Am I in control of marketing? Am I in control of anything? No, I'm not in control of anything. There's only one thing I'm in control of. What's that? Me. Yeah, me. So for 8 years, I blamed everybody except myself. How frustrating was that? Because I couldn't get any traction. I couldn't have any success making 50 grand, 50 grand, 50 grand, 50 grand. But when I finally said, you know, it's my fault, it seems like it would be a bad thing, but it was actually a good thing. It actually took stress off of me. Why would it take stress off of me? Why would it take stress off of me if I blame myself? Because it's the only thing that I could control. And you know what having control of something is? It's empowering, right? When I'm in control, stress level goes down. Make sense? Successful people compliment. Unsuccessful people criticize. Successful people read every day. Unsuccessful people watch TV every day. Successful people keep journals. Unsuccessful people don't keep journals. Guess what my journal was? My journal was recording all of my meetings. You have the tapes, Dave. My journal was my tapes. That's how I got better every single day. I talk about ideas versus talk about other people. Successful people want others to succeed. Unsuccessful people hope others fail. Successful people share info and data. Unsuccessful people hoard info and data. Successful people exude joy. Unsuccessful anger. Successful people keep a project list, and unsuccessful people fly by the seat of the pants. Successful people set goals. You know, I don't like goals, but I do like systems. They have systems, develop life plans and systems, and unsuccessful people don't have systems. And successful people continuously learn. Unsuccessful people think they know it all. And successful people embrace change. Unsuccessful people fear change. So when you look at what a successful people does, how many of those things do Jeff and I and Missy and Jerry and everybody here at 5Q and ECA do we try to, with the exception of me, I don't compliment very often and I don't exude joy very often, but I try to do all the other things, and I try to have people around me that do exude joy and do compliment. So other than those, though, how many of these things do we try to get you guys to do? Make sense? So, what is your most valuable asset? Time, Dave. So time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you can't get more time. So what's in between failure and success is how you use that time. So, I mean, we can sit here all day long and say, what is a good use of time and what's not a good use of time. But what do you think would be the best use of time in business? Not in our lives, not with our family, but what's the best use of time in business? Marketing is a waste of time, so it's not marketing. Learning is important. There's lots of marketing is important. Learning is important. Perfecting our systems is important. Anything that's So I would say all of the answers you're giving me are right. Relationships, learning the system, period. The best use of your time is getting better at something. Getting better at something. Getting better at getting in front of people. Getting better at what you say when you get in front of people. Getting better at closing. But getting better at doing paperwork. Systematizing things. It's getting better at something. Chasing paperwork, reading the paper, all those kind of things are worth nothing. So what are the best uses of time? Meeting with A clients. I think that's a great use of time. Meeting with A clients. And what should you be doing at the end of every meeting with an A client? Using our referral script. And that our referral script talks about what? Who are they helping by using our referral script? Wade's got it? Chris, everybody's getting it. Yeah, they're helping themselves. Helping themselves, helping themselves. Also, you're going to be deepening their relationships, which saves you a lot of time and effort down the road with any problems. Anticipate needs, gather additional assets, strengthen loyalty, get introductions. And what about B and C clients? What should you be doing them? Either A, turning them into A clients, or finding somebody else you can refer them to so you can work with only your A clients. Asking clients for introductions. Again, use that referral script because it's the only script that I know of that's out there that gets people to refer because it's helping themselves versus helping you or helping their family member. Do you get? Does everybody agree? Will people refer to help you? Only if their client, only if their neighbor or relative or friend asks them, who do you know? So will they go out of their way? If their friend, neighbor, or relative does not says, who do you know that's a good advisor, will your client be pounding the doors for you, making phone calls, telling all their people how you are? No. Because every time they do that, what's that person going to say? I got a guy. And they don't like rejection. But when you use the referral script, they all of a sudden aren't worried about helping you. They're not worried about helping their friend. They're worried about helping themselves because they don't want their friend or their mom's problem to become their problem. So make sure you learn that script backwards and forwards. And you should be using it virtually every time you meet with a client talking about the 21-point checklist. Best use of time, host small client events. Do you guys do a birthday event for one client every month? We have a system for that. Guess how much that costs? Diddly do. Why would you want to do that? Because you get in front of your clients. And again, I only choose my best client for that month. So I don't do it for all my clients. I just grab one client, and that's the one I'm going to do for that month. And they've got 7, 8 friends coming. Inevitably, guess what's going to happen out of those 7, 8 friends? You're going to get a new client. And you got 7, 8 people now that you can add to your drip list. Also, dinner. We have a dinner referral event that you can do. Take them to dinner. Each of your clients, you have 3 clients come, and they bring one friend each. So that's 6 couples. We have that system. So are you doing those every month or once every couple of months? That's good use of time. The birthday we talked about, retirement, client advisory board. Client advisory board, if you use the client advisory board as I lay it out, that's 9 referrals every quarter, 9 fantastic referrals every quarter. How many of you are using the client advisory board? Can I get anybody to raise their hand saying they're using Client Advisory Board to get those referrals? Okay, so not a single person. So guess how much a Client Advisory Board costs? It costs donuts and coffee. So why don't people do it? Why don't advisors do it? You know, advisors that say, geez, I need to get in front of more people. Geez, I need to get in front of more people. Geez, I need to get in front of more people. And I've given them a way to get 9 awesome referrals. And they don't do it. So Jeff, help me out. Why don't advisors do that?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's just lack of knowledge, not knowing it's out there, or just, I don't know, unwillingness to do it. I don't know. So
guys, you've got these tools. How many of them are you using? So is there really any reason not to be seeing people? You can have a little wine tasting event, golf lessons, referral. We've got referral dinners, town halls. We have all these things, guys. We have all these things. So if you've got clients, guess what? If you have clients, there's no reason you cannot be bringing on new clients with their friends, neighbors, relatives every single month. We have all of these ways to utilize your clients. And are your clients? Let me ask you a question, guys. Are your clients going to be sad that you throw a birthday dinner for them, a birthday lunch for them, not dinner, birthday lunch for them? So is that really? Are you afraid you're going to upset a client by doing that? Client Advisory Board. Guess how much people love to be part of Client Advisory Boards? They love it. They love to let people know their opinion. Wine tasting, golf lessons, referral dinners at a nice restaurant with 3 of your clients and their friends. Do you think anybody's going to be upset that you're doing this for them as a client? So I'm confused. You know, I understand you wouldn't do these things if you were afraid it would upset your clients, but they're going to be happy that you do these things. So those are good uses of time. Oh, there's the little referral script. So if you want to know where the referral script is, 21 light process, and then using that referral script. Because again, it ties in the fact that they think the world revolves around them. The only reason they're going to give a referral is if they think it's going to benefit them, and our referral script does that. Another good use of time: block in business building time, creating and reviewing your business plan, researching additional ways to leverage your niche, reviewing your office efficiency, staff, technology, time management, brainstorming with staff, read a book, practice a skill, learn something new. These are good uses of time. The best use of time would be what? If you're not doing this, what's the most important 15 minutes every day? There's a little hint. It's on your screen. And thank you. There are so many guys doing the 15-minute drill now. I am impressed. Probably more guys doing the 15-minute drill today than any time in the 18 years I've been coaching. So thank you for doing it. I guess 2 of you have said I'm doing 30 minutes a day. That's awesome. So thank you for doing the 15-minute drill. If you don't think that's making you better, I mean, is there anybody here doing the 15-minute drill or stop doing the 15-minute drill because they don't think it's making them better? See, I've been doing this for close to 20 years myself, and guess what I still do every day? I still do the 15-minute drill. Guys say, geez, Mike, I'm never going to be as good as you. Yeah, you can if you do what? Practice. And at least 15 minutes a day every single day. So first of all, I am pleased as punch. I've never had as many people doing the 15-minute drill daily as I've in the last 18 years as we have today. So thank you for doing that. If you're not doing it, guys, most important 15 minutes every day. What's going to happen if you don't answer phones for the first 15 minutes, or don't look at your email for the first 15 minutes, or don't read the paper, or don't do anything for the first 15 minutes? Nothing. This is the most important 15 minutes of your day. So make sure you're doing it. Peyton's film studying is stuff of legend. What does that mean? Peyton was a good or bad quarterback? He was a great quarterback. So why does a great quarterback need to review the films? Doesn't he know it all already? No, that's right, Dave. He's always getting better. He was always getting better. So if you want to know the best use of your time, though, guess what? Learn the crib notes and motive. And again, reading is great, but when should I read? Before I'm an expert at the 21-point checklist, or after? I'm an expert with the 21-point checklist. Yeah, after. If you want to know what you should read, read the 21-point checklist crib notes and watch those videos and learn those scripts. That's what you should be doing. Once you have those down, yeah, read to your heart's content. Your daily practice of the myth, most important, 15 minutes daily, your 15-minute drills and your GOTS, your 5-minute moneymaker and tape breakdowns. That's when you are doing all these things and you're an expert at these things, guess what? That's when every client that comes in, and guys, I've talked about this before. If I paid you $1 million to learn Spanish, how many of you would do that? And how quickly would you do that? So make sure you're doing these things, because this is not $1 million once, it's every single year. See, there are 7 days in a week, and some day isn't one of them. So when should you get started doing the 15-minute drill if you're not doing it? When should you get the 21-point checklist mastered? Today. Today. So here are the worst uses of time. How does reading the paper, how does reading the Wall Street Journal, how does reading any of that crap going to help you? How does it help you? It helps you be smarter. How does being smarter about that kind of stuff help you? It doesn't. Reading your email. So how should you read your email, guys? You should read it once in the morning, once at noon, and once before you go off. And what should it be for the rest of the day? Off. Off. And here's another hint. If you think 5Q is the right fit for you, how many other FMOs and marketing organizations stuff should you be reading? None. You get your eye off the ball. Now, when you decide 5Q is not the right thing for you, that you don't think it's working for you, you don't think whatever, then go ahead and read all those emails. But don't have one foot in the boat, one foot off the boat. Either get in the boat or get out the boat. Don't do both. Because what happens when you have one foot in the boat, one foot off the boat? I'm doing 5Q, but I'm checking these other things to see if there's something better. What happens? You fall in the water right away. You drown. Good. I mean, those are good analogies. How to turn on, and meetings. Your meetings should, I think meetings are good, but meetings should be only as long as something's being accomplished. You should never have a 1-hour meeting. You should have a meeting that's done when you're done accomplishing what you need to get done. And then remember, you can't be all things to all people. You can't be all things to all people. Learn when to say no to people. And Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff, how much time should you be on that? LinkedIn is the big one. How much time should you be on LinkedIn? LinkedIn is the worst thing that ever was created for financial advisors. Because I have financial advisors say, geez, I got 15,000. I have 15,000 friends, or whatever the hell they call them on LinkedIn. What's that got them? Do you think that was a really successful advisor? No, it was not. So have your day booked. You should know what you're doing every single day. Have a to-do list. Make sure you know what you're doing, because if you don't know what you're doing, and guys, you've heard me say this before. 15 years ago, everybody had to be in their office, right? Because you had to be there to take phone calls. You had to be there to look at your email. You had to be there. Now, too many of us spend too much time out of the office because we have our little office in our phone. And guess what that gives us time to do? Longer lunches, longer gym, longer golf. Screw off. That's right. To waste time. When we had to be in the office, we thought, well, I'm here anyways. I might as well do something productive. But when we can be outside the office, guess what? We tend to to screw off. So I'm not telling you need to be in your office, but I'm telling you, guess where I am all day long? Guess how much money I make, and guess where I am all day long? How many emails do you get from me from my phone? So that should tell you something. Look at people that make tons of money. How many emails do you get from their phone? I'll tell you straight out, not many. Guess where they are all day? In their office. In their office. And guys, how many hours are there in a week to work? I'm sorry, in a month to work. 40 times 4 is what? 160. Yeah, 200, I agree with that too. But here's the thing. In 1 year then, in 1 year, there's 1,720 hours. How good, if we just worked 8-hour days, and I'll tell you straight out, when I got my Series 7 license, I was working 50, 60 hours a week as a manager at Best Buy, and when I got home at night, that's when I studied for my Series 7. I didn't take all day. I did it after I got done working a full day as a training manager at Best Buy. So did I say, geez, I don't have time to study for this? What did I do? I just did it. Came home, studied, went to bed, worked, studied, went to bed, worked. Now, would I have done that for the rest of my life? No. But I knew that it was a finite time, 3 weeks, and I was done. So I knew, do this, 3 weeks, I can get out of this job as Best Buy and go to work for myself. So I did it for 3 weeks, knowing it's going to be done. That's the same thing with the 21-point checklist. The same thing with your business. Just focus for, immerse yourself in what you want to learn. You'd be amazed at how quickly you can do it. And again, guys, we're talking about 8 hours a day. Was I working 8 hours a day that I just described right there? No, I was working about 16 hours a day. Between the Best Buy and studying, I was working 16 hours a day. Again, do you have to do that? No. But, Jeff, have you ever heard an advisor that was kind of frustrated and saying, geez, you know, I'm not seeing clients. I don't know what to do. I'm not making any money. Have you ever heard that?
Oh, yeah, I've heard that a lot.
Yeah. And then when you start asking them what they're doing, do they really sound like they're all that, they acting like a desperate person? If you were desperate because you didn't know where your next dime was coming from, how would your day look, Jeff?
It'd be full trying to wrangle people in or get some activity going.
It'd be full, you mean from 8 to 5 before, you know, all the sitcoms came on or the football game came on?
No, I'd be thinking about it, working on it, however, day and night.
Well, but wouldn't your wife get mad at you?
No, she's in the same boat I am. She'd be fine with me figuring it out.
But weekends, don't we need weekends off to kind of depressurize?
Not if you're not getting what you're not doing. You got to do what you need to do.
So, guys, if you're making good money, if you're happy with what you're making, awesome. You're doing exactly what you need to do. That's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And if you can improve a little here, improve a little there, that's awesome. But if you truly want to make more money, should time be a problem for you? Should you ever say, Mike or Jeff, I don't have time to do this? If you're really serious about making more money. No. But guess what the number one reason Jeff and I hear? Because here's the funny thing about marketing. Guys, we have tons of free marketing. But guess what free marketing requires? Time and elbow grease. Effort, right. But it's amazing when we'll give people those things they can do. They'll say, I don't have time. So I'm not making any money, but I don't have time to do those no-cost marketing things. Guys, if you're not making any money, what should you have tons of? Time. Now, when you're making money, you don't have any time, so then you can spend money on those things that don't require any effort and just get people in front of you, like an eye-to-eye or something like that. But when you don't have the money to do an eye-to-eye or a seminar, you should have plenty of time to do the elbow grease type of marketing. So does that kind of make sense? So time is the most important asset you have. Don't waste it, okay? And get going on mastering these things, because that's what's going to allow you to have all the time in the world and all the money that you need to fill that time in the world, okay? So, and again, I am unbelievably pleased. I think we have more people doing what they should be doing now than in the last 18 years we've ever had before. So thank you all to do that, but I thought I'd give you a little a kick here as we go into the November, December, when we have more time on our hands. Let's be productive with that time, okay? Hope you all have a great day, and we'll talk to you all on Monday. Thanks, guys.